Hey, what's happening tonight? The rest of the family. I struggled to put the idea to even do this together. So this is real hard for me because I'm gonna have to reveal some things about me, and at the same time try not to offend some of my brothers and sisters out there. The other day, I was on Facebook and I saw a very disturbing post. And understand now, I'm throwing some rocks here. If one of the rocks hit you, right, just say ouch and keep on walking. I ain't trying to start nothing. This is simply put out here for correction and that we can move forward in the right way. Or do it like they say in the military, after something affects you or something happens around you that affects you and they want you to go back to normal, they say as you were soldier. So I'm gonna tell you as you were soldier. But anyway, I saw a post that kind of, it was disturbing to me because seeing that we in this new concept, and part of the new concept is growth and development. I just feel like there's some things that we should be past, that we should move past, and that's that big I and little U mentality. And basically, we restructured it to be the big I and little U, but it goes all the way back to the Willie Lynch mentality. When we were taught to hate each other. And it just seems like we always need to find something wrong with the next person in order to validate who we are or to elevate our status. And the post had to do with, I forget how it actually went, so it's not verbatim because, getting older and my memory. And then I don't care things it's really not really that important. So things that's really not that important in the scheme of things, I don't spend a lot of time remembering them. But this thing just kind of affected me in a really negative way, and it was in reference to a post that somebody said that this nigga called himself an OG and he don't know. The literature. He ain't up on the literature. He don't know this, he don't know that. And to me, and I know that the literature has its place, but the literature don't make you a gangster. How you live your life is where we define a gangster, because, I know guys who know a whole lot of stuff, and we'll take it outside of our world, whole lot of stuff at the job, but they can't put it into practice. And that's where it really counts, when you can put it into practice, right? When you can make your feet do the talking, because a gangster ain't really what's on paper, he's off the paper. And it talked about this brother who called himself an OG and said that he don't know this, he don't know that. I don't remember all of it, but I made this video to say this. We had enough of tearing brothers apart, brothers and sisters. We had enough of tearing them apart. We've been trained and we've been taught how to tear brothers apart. But I want in the future, just in the future, when you run across a brother and he has no knowledge of some of the laws and literature that we supposedly live by, why not count that as a teaching moment? Why not count that as a teaching moment? Pull them off to the side, because you're on the same team, man. You're on the same team, right? So instead of putting him down, right, find a way to approach this brother, regardless of if he's a pig-headed, one of those guys that's hard to deal with. Find a way to approach him and then sit them down and say, hey, brother, look, you know what? This is important that you know this, because this is who you're identifying as, right? And you sit them down and you teach him that, because the truth is, none of us knew any of the literature until it was taught to us, outside of the people that wrote it, you know, and I think that helps build the structure that Larry was talking about, you know, because I can't, you know, I've looked at a lot of literature and studied a lot of literature, and I can't remember any of the literature that actually talks about tearing a brother apart. You know, because seriously, when you do stuff like that, actually you're tearing somebody apart, right? You put them at what we call Front Street. You put them out there on Front Street, right? And all it does is cause animosity and division. And the truth is that, you know, the last thing that you want is to have a teammate that's not playing with you, right? If you have a teammate and he's not running the same plays that you running, guess what? I'm telling you, you're looking to lose, right? And we setting ourselves up for failure. We've been doing that for 400 and some change years, right? We've been fighting against each other for over 400 years. We've been doing the same thing, putting each other down about what we don't know, what we do know, what you got, what I don't have, and this and that. You know, as if any of that's important in the scheme of things, because basically we all actually go to the same doctor and he wrote us the same prescription. Every one of us is prescribed a death, okay? So at the end of the day, you know, we live our life and we die. You know, what are you going to be remembered for? What are you going to be remembered for? Because, you know, when we talk about, you know, King Larry and this and that, and how much we love him and this and that, you know, even in the Bible, Christ turned to his people and he said, if you love me, then you obey me. If you love Larry, and you love all of the structure and stuff that we have, we very fortunate to have a lot of structure, but we got to put that structure into practice. This is about building. This ain't about tearing apart. And I said at the beginning, it was really hard for me to do this, because I'm gonna have to bring up a situation. I won't name any names in this, but just to give an example, without going into an analogy, because an analogy is a fake situation, I'm gonna bring you a real situation about this literature thing. First time I got locked up, excuse me. Not the first time I got locked up. The first time I went to the penitentiary. I didn't know very much literature. One of the reasons, you know, even though, you know, Ike was there, and, you know, Big Daddy, my cousin, and all that, they was all there, you know, to teach it to me. I was on something else. I was on a whole nother level, a whole nother plan. I had a whole nother plan. And I executed that plan with expertise. At one point, if you know me, you know that I was doing very well in the drug game at a very early age too. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that to give you parts of the story. So I go to the penitentiary, and I've missed a lot of that, the literature part. And I get to the penitentiary, and I'm you know, hooking up with my guys, right? These guys who are my guys. And they do the same thing. They pointed out that, man, you know, you know, we gotta check you out, because you know, you ain't, for who you say you is, you ain't, you know, you don't have the knowledge base, right? And they made some calls and stuff, not calls, but they checked me out, and you know, I turned out to be who I said I was. But you know, I was put on I was put on literature study duty. And Uh, it was kind of hurtful to me, the way it was brought to me. But being the guy who I am, I follow structure. I follow structure and I respect leadership, regardless of if it's bad leadership or good leadership. I just wait out bad leadership because it'll execute itself. But in the midst of me studying the literature and this and that, and all these guys who are more G than me, or bigger than me, they got more gangster in them than me. I'm sitting back and I'm watching, and something happened, a dynamic happened that changed the game. So a guy comes in and he's from another, I'll say, I hate to use the word opposition because it actually sets a standard that we hate each other, and it's not true. I'll go into that later. But there's a guy that we would consider an opposition, right? He comes in and he looks like he's done ate up 3 penitentiaries on his way here. Big old swole dude. And he comes into the area, he's on our deck, and I'm noticing how he's taking over the deck, right? And I'm noticing how all these gangsters are afraid of this guy. They never, this guy's just laying it down, right? We got a peaceful deck. We get everybody getting along in harmony before this guy. I'm talking about all organizations getting along in harmony. But this one guy comes, so now I'm seeing a power shift, or should I say a coup. He's got a coup going right now, and everybody else is not important, and his thing is important, right? Because he's the big old nigga that everybody's scared of. And I'm looking around and I'm questioning these guys who call themselves gangsters, right? A minute ago, you guys were gangsters. So, make a long story short, something happened, right? And now I see, I'm not gonna say that the guys was terrified, but they wasn't getting ready to deal with him, okay? And he was the objective that we have to address. And they all backed up. And I'm not giving myself a trophy, but I stood up. And I've been trained to fight, so I put them hands on him, and I changed the dynamics back to the way it was, right? Because after he left out, going to the hospital, things settled down. But then they moved me, and I started getting kites about how they wanted me to take over that area. Okay, this guy that didn't know anything. I'm not a gangster like you guys, and I'm not saying that this happens in all the situations. I'm just saying though, this is something that I was taught years ago, and it what has a lot of value today. Be careful of the feet that you step on, because they just may be connected to the ass you have to kiss tomorrow. I'm just telling you. Remember that. Treat everybody the way that you want to be treated. But anyway, moving on. Again, remember, now, I'm the guy that didn't know this and I didn't know that. Now you want me to be your leader, right? And it's really a slap in the face. It's really a slap in the face. But moving on, when I tell you be careful of the feet, when I was coming up, there was another guy, in our neighborhood that I really admired. He was my buddy, actually. And I remember I had hit my lowest because, like I said, I was doing really well in drug dealing, and I fell off. And I fell into some drugs and this and that and all that. And I fell off, And I was probably at one of my lowest moments. And my buddy, Al Green, Khalif, Vice Lord, right? He come to me in my lowest moment. And we on the streets too. And that brother brought me comfort in my lowest moment. I'd never even talked to him about this. He brought me comfort in my lowest moment. And he reassured me, Ray, this ain't you. This ain't you. And because of that relationship, looking past all this crazy stuff, I could have said, hey man, you a vice lord, you don't know what I don't want to deal with you and all this. Man, look, we all black. And while we on the subject of being black, we've been treated like shit for 400 and some years. Let's get some things straight. We in this pandemic, we on shelter in place. Give you time to think. When you come up out of this shelter in place, you don't have to believe me, just do your research yourself. We shouldn't be buying gas at Speedway gas station just because they give you a couple of points and a hamburger, or a hot dog, or whatever you get out of there. We shouldn't be buying gas at Speedway gas station because guess what? During this whole pandemic, if you take note to what I'm saying now, then you'll see what the crooks are, what the real crooks are. You can go to Get Go or one of those other gas stations and the gas is $1.19 or something like that. You go to Speedway, it's $1.49. See, they don't talk about the gouging or $1.69. They don't talk about that gouging. Nobody wants to talk about that. But what we need to do is stop supporting those places. Guess what? We need to stop buying hair and nails and stuff from these Chinese. What, we don't know how to do that? We probably invented it. Let's get past some of this reliance where we have to rely on other people. We industrious people. We don't have to tear each other apart in order for us to get up. That crabs in a bucket thing, that ain't us. That ain't us. We don't have to tear each other apart to get to the next level. We can get to the next level together because on the straight up, now you want to do some research this. Anybody that knew me when I was on, right, would tell you that I would put anybody on. I wanted to see brothers get money with me. I didn't care if you got it on the same block as me. See, we need to be a unified body because a unified body is a game changer. We can be a game changer if we get unity. That's what Larry was trying to institute when he started that 21st century vote. We need to unify. We need to stop with all these petty arguments and start thinking about the things that's real and the things that's going to be productive. Let's move forward together. We ain't got that much time. And we got to get serious about this. And we got to stop tearing each other up. We got to stop killing each other. We got to stop tearing each other up. We're going to be about growth and development. Let's be about growth and development. And let's be about Larry and his vision. Talk to you.